program's over, just go ahead and stay on, and we'll do the drawing at that point. So let's go ahead, and Randy, could you share the treasurer's report with us?
Yes. For the month of February, our beginning balance was $75.84.14. We had a deposit of $80 and one check for $51.02 for printing. Our ending balance was $76.13.12.
Okay, thank you very much. So our budget is doing well this year, and that's a good thing. John, could you share the membership report, please? You're muted. Joan, you are muted.
There we go. We started February with 998 members. 2 people joined, bringing our total membership to 1,000. If there are any guests here today or others that you know who wish to join the club may do so by completing a membership agreement, which is available on the On the Go Travel Club page of the Sun City Hilton Head website under clubs and groups. There's both the printable version and the online version are there. And just as a reminder, all the 2020 members were automatically renewed for 2021 at no cost due to the limited activities and lower expenses of the club. So, if you have anybody that you know might be interested in the club, have them go to the travel club page on the website and maybe we can get some more members. And I'll go ahead and continue with the WeGo.
Yes, please.
The WeGo Special Interest Group within the travel club provides a list of things to do in the local area. The list in the frequent flyer is condensed, so you should check the full list for details. Only a few events are over $30 and many things are free. The WeGo list is emailed to club members in the middle of the month and posted on the club's webpage. A shortened list is also posted later on the bulletin board in the hallway by Lifestyle Services. Written copies of the frequent flyer, the WeGo list, and membership application are available in the box by the door at 23 Paget Drive. The WeGo list includes links to several virtual offerings in 5 categories: classical events, festivals and home tours, music and theaters, more adventures, and museums and tours. Some in-person events remaining in March include classical and popular concerts, a ballet performance, the Savannah Boat Show, Macon Cherry Blossom Festival, Hilton Head Wing Fest, a jazz trio brunch, music at the Roasting Room, tea at the Davenports, the Pink Partini Party, Astronomy Night, and Bluffton Artisan Market. If you plan to pick daffodils or strawberries, be sure to check availability before going. Tickets for the Spoleto USA go on sale starting March 13th, and that's up in Charleston. It's a huge event. The Savannah Theater is not going to have any shows in March, but they are resuming in April. Shows listed on for the Tybee Post Theater have been postponed, but you can still buy tickets now before they sell out. And there's a change in the deadline that was listed on the March list for the Art Center of Coastal Carolina. Kinky Boats is going to be rescheduled for a later date. If you check the More Adventures section for several recurring events, such as the Bluffton Farmers Market, Discover Bluffton, Markermania, and Shell Art Trail that are outdoors. The Bee City Zoo is new on this list. And you might also note that the Hostess City Hot Glass offers a 60% discount for us. So if you're interested in doing any of that, be sure you check your list so you know the code to put in. And a fun thing for kids of any age is a trip to Kazooie Kazoos. The Museums and Tours category has many in-person and virtual museum exhibits and events. The American Prohibition Museum even has a speakeasy and classes. Check out the Coastal Discovery Museum website for many of the events that are in addition to those that are listed on the, and other museums are open with activities and exhibits. Buford Tours is now using golf carts instead of vans, which is a little more open and a little more COVID friendly, I guess you'd say. And they offer 2 walking tours. Some of the other walking tours include Architectural Savannah, Bonaventure Cemetery, Savannah Ghost Tour, and America's Most Haunted City Tour. A new website is being listed on now for wildlife preserves, and that provides information and links for many nature-based spots in the Low Country. So if you're looking for things to do that while you're staying home, spending time outdoors, or in limited contact with others, the WIGA list is a place to find them. The April list will going to be sent out probably by next Monday. It also includes a few new things for this month. You can join the WIGO meeting on March 17th by completing the registration form that was sent out yesterday morning. Or you can send me a chat if you want to email send me a chat if you want me to email information to you about how the group works. Some of you are not familiar with it, and I have a little write-up that explains a little bit more about it.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, thank you, Joan. Ed, would you like to do a sanctioned trips report?
Yes. We only have one trip I really want to highlight today. It's the 4 George Islands. It's going to Cumberland, Jekyll, St. Simons, and Sapelo Islands. It's a 2-night, 3-day tour trip. I would really like 5 more people to sign up for it because it's being run by Scotty Davis, and Judy and I, we're already signed up. And the trip is April 26th through April 29th. If you're interested, it's in the frequent flyer, but Scotty Davis's phone number, it's 843-681-1900. And you can always call me. I'd be happy to give it to you. So we need 5 more people. So anybody that's feeling a little cabin fever like we are, it's good opportunity to get out. And you don't have to go that far. George is not that far away. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Now I am going to launch an attendance poll just so we can see how many people we really have. And so the poll should be up on your screen now, and you can just click the number that you have viewing or attending our meeting today at your location. So, okay. Any others who wish to respond? Okay, we have 30. And I'm writing down numbers, so we have these for later. Okay. Okay, I think almost everybody has responded, so I'm going to end the polling. Thank you all for sharing. Here, I can show you what it looks like. You should see the results on your screen now. So we have about, let's see, 40, 60, 70, around 70 people in attendance at the meeting right now, it looks like. So I will stop that. Okay, now Phyllis, could you please go ahead and introduce our speaker for today?
Sure. We're lucky to have Donna Paine. She is a nurse, and I want to make sure I cover. And she considers herself a traveler, or at least she used to be, like many of us. She has traveled the globe for pleasure, business, and exotic lands, and administered their required vaccines. So she's got a lot of good information for us. She's also a nurse, a public speaker, and a columnist for Pink magazine, and currently is volunteering as a nurse immunizer with the CVS for the COVID-19 vaccines. So she is wants to share a lot of travel tips, and I know things just from talking to her that I have found out, like that little card when you get your second shot, put it with your, and I wouldn't know this if it wasn't for her, put it with your passport, or you could get yourself in trouble if you try to travel. And and also she's going to talk about travel, like how to travel post-pandemic too. And she approaches everything with a really positive attitude, which is kind of nice to hear. So if we could all hold our questions till the end and give her a chance to get it all in, I think we'll have a very good speaker today. So on to Donna.
Thank you. Donna, you're still muted. Can you unmute yourself? Right in the upper right corner of your picture, there should be an unmute.
Got it.
There you go. Thank you.
All right. Well, good afternoon, Sun City Travel Club. And thank you, Sherry, and thank you, Phyllis. You know, I carry a couple of quotes with me, and one is, I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list, okay? So a year ago, I would have considered myself a traveler. A year ago, I had a job as a travel medicine nurse where I met with people who were going on exotic trips and I gave them their vaccine. All right. A year ago, I had international travel plans. A year ago, I spoke to the Indigo Run Women's Club where I spoke about travel. And a year ago, Travel Magazine talked about 90 million people in 2019 were considered travelers. And they were promoting Antarctica, river cruises through the Amazon, and things like Japanese forest bathing, all right? This year is different. They're focused on the US because of the pandemic and what has transpired. Now, I'm not a travel agent. I don't pretend to be. I did call my travel agent yesterday to get an update. And of course, you know, things are still closed to us. Europe is closed. We can still, you know, go to the Caribbean. We can't go to Canada right now. So the focus is more US travel. I didn't know that there were over 400 national parks. About 63 of them are the elite parks, like the Grand Canyon and Niagara Falls and Yellowstone. But there are other parks that yet to be discovered by many, like the Antelope Canyon Park in Utah, which has these beautiful light shows within their within the rock formations there. You know, even people like Rick Steves, the travel guru, is homebound, like all of us. And if any of you have missed it, he does a great Monday night travel session where he talks about historic areas, romantic areas around the globe, and he features a wine and food to match it up. So, you know, we've had to make changes. We've all had to make changes, but even AARP magazine ran a quote that said, daydreaming about post-pandemic trips is very therapeutic, but I myself can see light beyond the tunnel. And I think that whether you are planning a recent trip to Georgia Islands or exploring national parks, I do think that it will be soon in the future that we will be able to resume travel as we knew it. And so let's talk travel, okay? So what are some of the things that we have to be careful about today? I used to say, throw in a couple of extra toothbrushes in your suitcase. Now I say, throw in a couple of extra masks. And how do you know what is safe and what isn't safe? One of my key go-tos is, if a coach tour or if a hotel says we don't have any restrictions, you might kind of stay away from them. If they have restrictions on mask wearing, and they talk about their enhanced cleaning protocol, that would be the hotel or the coach that I would lean to. Like I said, a lot of things have changed, but basic preparation for your trips really hasn't. Okay, so I go by like a 6 or 7 point plan when I plan a trip. So number one, and that hasn't changed a bit, and that is research. So whether you are planning a trip locally or within the United States or in the future, you're booking, and I did see your frequent flyer, which was very cool. If you're planning booking in 2022 or 2023, you still want to, number one, research where you are going. If you're going to an exotic land in the future, you want to research their customs, their culture, and what's currently happening. But you want to add to that now, how are they dealing with the pandemic, and what are the restrictions? What is open? What isn't? Even in this country, we know that Disneyland in California has been closed. Disney World is open as of July of last year, but certain rides aren't and certain hotels are not. So researching is key number one in where you are going. And especially post-pandemic, what are the current restrictions? As we know just by listening to the news, every state is even different in our country. Number two, a month before you go, no matter where you go, look at your travel documents, your passport and your driver's license. How many times we forget to look at our driver's license and oh my gosh, it's expired next month, so you want to keep your travel documents really current. And again, looking in the future, you want to make copies of those documents. Keep a hard copy in your suitcase and keep a copy on your phone. Those things are very important. And I'll just tell you a quick little side story here, because I feel that with every trip I've made, and I've done business travel, I've done off the path travel, I've done tours, and I've done several mission work in different countries. But each time I go, I've learned a little something, and I'm sure as a travel club, you have too. So one thing I learned when I was in the Madrid airport a couple of years ago, traveling with a friend en route to Morocco, and she lost or had her passport stolen at the airport. Welcome to tourist hell, basically. We didn't know if there was even an embassy we didn't know what the protocol was to get a new passport. And we were pretty much confused. And if it wasn't for someone who we had met who told us there was an embassy in Madrid, we would have really had even more delays to our trip. But my friend had a copy of her passport in her suitcase. So the process was long, but it would have even been longer if we hadn't had a copy of that passport. What did I learn from that trip? I learned that any place I would go, I wanted to make sure I knew where the embassy was, where the consulate was, their address and their phone number to contact them. All right. Now, again, we want to look ahead because I really do believe that it won't be long before we can do travel as we knew it. The next point that on my list is money. We all know no matter where you're traveling, before you go, empty that purse, empty that wallet of anything unnecessary in case your wallet or your purse is stolen. And of course, contact your credit card companies about where you're going and when. Even if you're traveling within the United States, if you're going out of a routine charge pattern, you want to do that and keep copies of your credit cards in a separate place and even at home to someone you could call. And along with that, with the money is, again, looking ahead, I always say it's always nice to exchange your American money for the currency you're going to, whether it's euros or Canadian money or another form of currency in a country. It's always nice to do that. And you can do it with most countries that you're going to at the kiosks at airports. But then again, if you're going to a country like Cuba, and I went to Cuba in 2019, you can only exchange your money there in the country at a bank. You can't do it pre-trip. And what I also learned, and again, this is part of research and money when you travel, is the exchange rate, the service charge in Cuba is 13% when you exchange US dollars to Cuban. But if you used euros or Canadian, it's 3%. So those little things that you learn about countries and money is worthwhile, investigating a little bit. The next point is that I like to talk about is luggage when you travel. So luggage can be a burden if it's too big or too heavy. And a lot of tours like Rick Steves, he won't allow you to check in a bag. You have to manage with a 21-inch maximum travel bag and a backpack or another hand carried bag. And there are a lot of great videos on YouTube to show you how to efficiently pack. And I'm not talking about cruises where you give someone your bag and you don't have to deal with it for the rest of your trip. But my go-to exercise in this is, can I carry my bag down a flight of steps at a train station, underneath the tracks, and up again without any help? If so, I'm good to go. If not, I've got too much stuff. So again, luggage, keep it simple. You can always buy when you get there to your location. The next point in travel, and a lot of people know this and use it, and some people don't, and that is the STEP program, and that's STEP. The STEP program is the Smart Travelers Enrollment Program that our State Department, our U.S. State Department has. And you can access it by going to usstatedepartment.org. And what it does is, what you do is you enroll in the program. It's free. And you alert the State Department where you're going to be and when. So what they do is they send to an embassy where you're going, who you are, when you're going to be there, so that in the event of some natural disaster or whatever, they know that they have Americans in a certain location. Not everybody likes this program. Some like it, some don't, but I like to share that little bit of information with you. And then comes to the part that is near to my heart because I am a nurse. So, and I did run a vaccine clinic, where I talked about health and wellness and travel. So the first point in traveling healthy is your prescriptions and your medications. Now, many of you travel with little containers like this with your pills in it, right? So that's good. That's what you should do. But I also suggest that you take a photograph of your prescription bottle. And that's important to have on your phone and hard copy. I mean, who would think that, a year ago, people were trapped for weeks, unable to get back to the United States. And just think about if they had a need to refill their prescriptions, how important it would have been to have the actual name of the prescription so that they could refill it more efficiently. So your medications are top of the list to make sure that you have them accurately logged into something you're carrying with. The second point is your emergency plan. No one wants to think about an accident or an injury when they're traveling, but it does happen. And so I would suggest looking at your supplements, see what they cover. Look at any type of insurance that you have, and you might think about taking out an additional travel medical insurance plan, and that will help you. And it would, and if you would ever have an accident, it really does help the financial burden that you might experience, and that's whether you're traveling in this country or not. So your prescriptions, having an emergency plan, and then I talk about the top 3 things that can change a great vacation into a bad vacation. And that is water, food, and mosquitoes, those 3 things. Okay, so number 1, water. Even in this country, but for sure if you travel out of the country, you want to make sure that you are drinking bottled water only, even brushing your teeth. Making sure that the bottle is not compromised, and having enough with you and keeping yourself hydrated, obviously. And then it comes to food. And I'm sure a lot of you travelers are foodies, you know, but believe it or not, 60% of people who travel do get what they call traveler's diarrhea. It's not a great thing to talk about, but it's real and it happens. And there are a lot of things you can do to prophylactically help yourself and also to pack when you're packing. So there are some products on the market to prophylactically help you if you're going to be a foodie and if you like to eat food that, you know, that's outside vendors and things like that. There's actually a really cool a little app for your phone. It's called Can I Eat This? And it's sponsored by the CDC. And you put in the name of the country you're going to, and then it kind of prompts you along, whether it's food or drink, and then whether you can eat, whether they suggest you eating it or not, which it's really cool. Can I eat this? You know. The other thing is you might look into is bringing things like Travelan. Now, Travelan is a natural gluten-free supplement that strengthens the intestinal system. And you take 1 tablet before a meal, and it kind of coats the inside of the intestines so that there's a protection there against any bacteria that might cling to your intestines. It's kind of, if you have a visual of it, you might think about drinking like a half a bottle of Pepto-Bismol, same kind of thing, you know, so it protects you and it protects your intestines. And then, you know, to also make sure that you're okay when, in case you do get traveler's diarrhea, I suggest that you pack some over-the-counter Imodium, okay? And, you know, the prescription for traveler's diarrhea when you travel is usually Imodium and an antibiotic. It used to be Cipro, but now it is erythromycin 500 milligrams. So if you ask your doctor for, all you need is 3, the Imodium plus the erythromycin, it really should do the trick. And you should also pack, and these are little packets of oral hydration packets. They're like Gatorade in a little packet, and you could put those in a bottle of water, and that's like having Gatorade at your fingertips. So, you know, prophylactically having something like Travelan and packing for sure in your suitcase the Imodium and an antibiotic and some, you know, hydration salts. Those things are all extremely, extremely important. Um, and then the other thing is mosquitoes. Now, in this country, we know mosquitoes, right? Low country, we know mosquitoes. They come out at dusk and dawn. They hang around in little puddles of water, and they're annoying, right? So, if you're going to do any any treks, you're going to do any hikes, you're going to do any walks within the woods. In this country, even you want to bring a really good insect repellent and something that has DEET in it, or permethrin. And you can get things like that at outdoor stores like Dick's or REI online. And it's really important. And of course, we know that once travel opens up and you might want to go on a safari or you want to go to Machu Picchu, you'd want to look at maybe taking some malaria medication as well. Uh, and so, but there are some really great products out there, again, that make your trip even a little bit better. And when it comes to hiking and mosquitoes and insects, besides on your skin, and again, these kinds of products like the high-end insect repellents, these are usually long-lasting and waterproof for the skin. But there's also stuff for your gear and your clothing, uh, things that uh, this is called duration, and it's clothing and gear insect repellent. So something like this is very practical to spray on your outside clothes, not your lingerie, but your outside clothes, your boots, your shoes, your hats, your scarves before you go. You would let the spray dry, then fold your clothes, and it's good for 6 weeks or 6 washings, if you can believe that. It's usually pretty good. So water, only bottled water. Watch what you eat and be prepared in case you get a tummy ache and you get traveler's diarrhea. And then the mosquitoes, protect yourself with, the right clothing as well. The next point in keeping yourself healthy is high altitude. Um, some people in their trips do some high altitude travel, and that could be in this country as well, going to Colorado or Utah. And some people do get high altitude sickness, and it can, and again, derail your vacation. So you want to ascend and descend slowly, keep yourself really hydrated. And if you're going to be at over 8,000 feet, you might ask your doctor for um, some Diamox. So Diamox helps as well for the high altitude. Um, High altitude. Now, jet lag, as many of us all know, jet lag happens. And to prepare for jet lag, they talk about, especially if you're going to travel across time zones, you might a couple of days before start to think about when you'll be going to bed, when you'll be getting early. You might even do a day or two of that in that time zone that you're going to. And again, stay hydrated. And it might even want to take some melatonin with you, which also helps as well. Now we're going to come to the fun part, okay? And I call it the documentation as you travel. Now, I'm sure most of you have a passport, but this is what I call, I mean, it's a white card, right? But I call it a golden ticket. This is my verification that I've had 2 doses of the coronavirus vaccine. All right. We don't know what we're going to have to do with this card, but don't lose it. Once you get your vaccine, and laminate it, keep it handy, and keep it in your passport, along with, and I hope a lot of you have one of these. This is a yellow World Health Organization vaccine record. You keep all of your vaccines in this, okay, and keep it in your passport. This is recognized all over the world, and because there are many countries that you cannot get into without certain vaccines. So keep this in your passport. Keep your coronavirus vaccine in your passport, and don't lose this. You know, countries like Israel are using the vaccine certification. They have an app on their phone, and they're using that as a go-to ticket to get into concerts, to get into movies, and to other outside venues. So we don't know what the future will bring in what we have to present, but for sure, we know today, if you're going to the Caribbean, you're going to need an updated proof within 72 hours that you are corona free and also coming back. So we know that today. We don't know tomorrow, going in and out of countries, what we're going to need. So you want to keep everything really, really current, and for sure keep um, that the vaccine card that I showed you within your passport and really, really handy. So, you know, my theory is preparation and protection equals great travels. All right. And I'm going to end with one of my favorite travel quotes, and that is, travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer. So thank you very much for having me. I hope that, you know, you might have come away with one or two things, and I wish you safe travels in the future. Thank you very much. And I'm open for any questions or comments.
Okay, so are there questions from the
Sherry,
audience? Yes, go ahead.
I missed the information on the COVID, on the vaccine card, the certification. What was the beginning of that? Where she
Well,
talked about it?
yeah, I actually called this my golden ticket. All right. And I said, I suggest that you laminate it and you keep it in your passport. Keep it in your passport, because we don't know in the future how it will be used and what proof we are going to need to go to different venues. And so just keep it really handy and really safe.
Thank you.
And where do you get the vaccination record if you don't have one? That yellow one that you held up that goes inside
Yeah.
people's passports?
This,
Yes. Where
Yeah.
do you get it if you don't have one?
this is it's approved by the World Health Organization. I think if you went online and typed in International Certificate of Vaccination, uh, you might see this. We gave these out at our clinic, but a lot of doctors' offices have them, and perhaps the public health department has them as well. Um, and you know what you're supposed to record in here is, you know, your flu vaccines, your shingles vaccine, anything that's a vaccine, you know, should be in here, because you know, we used to get a monthly report like this of the world, showing different things that are going on. This is before COVID, where there was a typhoid fever outbreak or malaria or polio, you know. So we would suggest at the clinic that if they were going to an area where they'd have polio was on the rise, that they would get a polio booster. That would go in the yellow card. Okay, so any type of vaccine would go in the yellow card, and I'm sure you could find it online.
And just to follow up on that, I don't know how widely this is being done, but I know one of my husband's doctors and one of mine has asked if I wanted to be a part of that vaccine registry or something. And it looks like they're starting to create a record of all the vaccines that you get and kind of keep it in one location. Do you know any more about that? What doctors' offices are doing with that?
Well, I do know that South Carolina does not have it in place, but states like Georgia, because that's where I had my training in Atlanta for this vaccine job, you could go, if someone came into your office and said, I'm not sure what I had. I don't know how many, I don't know when I had my vaccines. I don't know if I ever had a polio vaccine, when that was. There's a registry that everyone, all the health professionals in Georgia, when they have a patient come in and they give them a vaccine, it's recorded into one in one location. So you could call it up if you had the credentials. In Georgia, health professionals have, established credentials to call up vaccine information from others, but that's not in place as of, at least as of a year ago when I was working at the clinic. It wasn't in place yet in Atlanta, in South Carolina, but I'm hoping it is, because then it could help people that maybe have misplaced their records and things like that.
Mhm. They may be getting it in place because it's been just in the last couple months when I've seen that on the check-in for a doctor's
Right.
appointment. So are there other questions?
Don, there's a couple questions.
Yes.
People want to know the name of the oral hydration packets, and you went over the stuff that you take as a tablet for diarrhea. The name of that went very quickly.
Okay.
Repellent.
Okay, so for diarrhea, you can get, it's Imodium over the counter in any drugstore. This is when you have traveler's diarrhea, you would follow the directions, Imodium. Okay.
Well, I think the question was on the stuff that you take before you eat, so you can eat anything you want.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Repellent.
called Travelan. Can you
Travel
see?
land?
Yeah,
Okay.
Travelan. It's not cheap, but it does work. You take one tablet before a meal and then you can go crazy.
Donna, I have a question concerning the vaccine record.
Yes.
If you have that, doesn't that have to be signed off by a doctor? So if I got a brand new record, I couldn't put in all my past vaccinations that I know about because they wouldn't be signed off by a doctor.
Okay, so where would you have your information?
I keep a list myself of all my vaccinations, when they were done, and
Okay.
what the vaccination was, but I don't have it
Okay.
in a folder like that.
Okay, so what you would do in that case, you would put in the date that you have, the vaccination that you received, and then where you received it. Was it at a doctor's office? Was it at a, public health clinic or something like that? Yes, if you went into my clinic when I had my clinic, I would sign it and I'd have my own stamp. But for you to keep you have your records, you would write it in, and then who gave, where you got it. And you can always staple your existing paperwork to that, if you want. But
If I just had a list of my vaccinations, like, on December 2nd, 1925, 19 whatever, I got a shingles vaccine. Or, my last flu shot was on this date or something like that. Is that sufficient?
I would put that in there, but I would also put where, if you recall, if it was at Walgreens, was it with your doctor? I would put, where,
Right.
where you received it. And, the other thing is, as we regain be able to go out of the country, some vaccines are recommended, like hepatitis A or hepatitis B or typhoid, and you always want to have your tetanus shots up to date. Those things should be on your in that record. But yeah, so if you had, say, for instance, you had a hepatitis B series or hepatitis A series quite a few years ago, like I had mine in 2009, in 95. I could always get a titer done to see if I still have antibodies for coverage. So, but yes, you want to keep an accurate list in one place, especially when you start to travel.
I was more concerned of whether they would be accepted if they didn't have a signature next to them.
No, I think it's fine because there's only a couple of vaccines that are imperative to have a special stamp in one of these things. And that's this internal area of the yellow card, and that's for yellow fever.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Donna, another question that someone had is, what is the name of the hydration packets? You held them up kind of quickly.
Yeah. These are, the brand is TRIORAL. You can see that,
Yes.
okay? And they
Okay,
are,
and explain them, please.
yeah, they're an oral rehydration salts, and you would put those in a full bottle of water and shake it up, and it would be like having Gatorade. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, and someone typed in the question, the chat, how do I get a Who vaccination packet? But if I summarize what I heard you say, people can just create their own list of the vaccines if they don't have the Who vaccination pamphlet.
Right.
They could create their own list and take that with them.
Yeah, you could create your own list, but I tell you to keep it all within your passport. I think it's really important. There are, again, we want to hope that nothing happens to you when you do go on a vacation. But say, for instance, you injure yourself and you need stitches, you know, you need to know when you've had your last tetanus shot. So within the country, within the United States, every 10 years it's recommended. But if you're doing international travel, it's every 5 years. Okay, so if you haven't had a tetanus shot within 5 years, you want to get one and put it on, even if it's on an index card within your passport. I think it's important.
Okay. One of the other things that you talked about was the product called Duration that you spray on your clothes. And I was wondering how you manage that. Like, does that come in a powder form or something and you mix it up, or how do you manage that if you're flying?
No. You do not take it with you. This is all before you go. So
you put it on your clothes before you go?
Before you go, you outside. Okay, you do this outside on your porch or patio. All right. You lay your clothes out, your hat, your boots, your socks, your pant, your slacks, your vest, whatever you're going to be, you know, using. And then you spray it. Okay, it comes small and big. You spray your clothes front and back. You let them dry really, really well. Then you fold them, and then you pack them once they're dry, but you do not take it with you. No.
Okay. Are there other questions?
Donnie, you mentioned the step program,
Okay.
but you mentioned some people don't like it. What is it they don't like about it?
I guess it's, you know, it's other people knowing where you're going, I guess.
Okay.
I have always felt that it's one more a bit of protection that you have, you know, knowing that kind of someone has your back, you know.
Yeah, okay.
We have another suggestion on the chat that they add any allergies to their list.
Yes, and as actually, if you do have one of these booklets, there is a place for stuff like that, and also there's an additional place that where you can put your medications that you are taking. So it's a really handy little booklet, and you can put your allergies, you can put your medications on there along with your vaccines.
Emergency contacts would be another good thing to include.
Right.
And someone suggested that pharmacies may have those vaccine records. Is that a fact or not? Do
Yes,
you know?
they do. Yes, they do, because I know I went to get my second pneumonia shot last fall, And the pharmacist said to me, "You've already had it." So I said, "Oh, I did? I hadn't put it in my little yellow book." So yes, if you go to a routine pharmacist, they should have it for sure. I
And
see
then, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Yeah, I saw someone just popped up and said, "Is there a travel immunization clinic nearby?" I wish. I want to go back to work, but they they closed it. They closed. We had almost 300 offices, and we had an office in Mexico and in the UK, and they closed almost. I think they closed almost up to 19. Only 19 are open. There might be an office open in Greenville. But again, I don't know. Now, I will tell you that the CDC has another app, which is I have on my phone, and it's called CDC Travel Well, WELL, and it helps you with uh, what immunizations you might need and things like that. So it was an arm. We used the information from the CDC and the World Health Organization. Every day we would get bulletins from them as to what was happening globally. But that's a good app to use. And there used to be a travel nurse that worked with Dr. Sack, but she has left, Paula Hart. But yeah, I would love to have that clinic back because like I said, I want to get back to work.
Yeah. Yes, Peggy, the travel nurse office in Plantation Park, was that you, Donna?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. That was.
So, are there other questions?
Yes, Jamie, I have a comment. I just want to throw this out for possible consideration. And that is, I belong to an organization called Emergency Assistance Plus. And I have fortunately never had to use them, but they will take care of if you have to be airlifted, if you are in the United States and you have to be brought home, that somebody can drive your car home. And there are many, many services offered by them. And it's something you might want to look into. Also, Docubank, which is an organization which keeps all of your medical records. And I belong to that, and they can just call a number and get any information, not any, I mean, you can't call for just to find out things about somebody that you want to know about, but doctors' offices and medical professionals are able to call that and get any information that they need in case of an emergency. Fortunately, I've never needed to use that either, but they're both two groups that I belong to that make me feel very comfortable when I travel. Thanks.
Good to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Jane Randolph looked up and she said that the closest Passport Health office is in Charleston.
Okay, yeah. Now Charleston used to have 3 offices. It's good to know there's one left. That's great.
Holly, we don't hear you. Are you muted?
Me?
Holly Hughes is who was
Yep.
coming up. Okay. Did you have a question?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions for Donna? So while hearing none, thank you so much, Donna. This was very informative, and we are so glad that you were able to join us today and share these travel tips for the post-pandemic era.
Just be safe out there and make sure everybody gets that vaccine.
Yes.
I'm giving the vaccine, by the way, at the CVS in Port Royal and Beaufort.
So, well, if people get an appointment there, they can look for you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's do the drawing for the gift cards. And while we're getting the names drawn, let me just remind you that the April meeting will be on Tuesday, April 13th. And I will be the speaker for that meeting, and my topic is going to be Colorado and Utah, a trip that my husband and I did a couple of years ago, where we went to 5 different national parks, Pikes Peak, and the Denver Botanical Garden, among other things. So that's what's on the agenda for next month. The first winner for a gift card today is Kathy Zumalowski. Kathy, are you here? Either send a chat or speak.
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. Kathy, are you going to be home for the next 30 minutes or 45 minutes?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and which gift card would you like? It's a $25 gift card for either Kroger, Publix, or Cracker Barrel.
Kroger's.
Okay, I will write that on your slip. And Bernie will be delivering them. So hang around for the next 45 minutes after the meeting. Our next winner is Patricia Sacote. Patricia, are you here? I think I saw you on the list. Yes, okay. Which gift card would you like? We have Publix or Cracker Barrel remaining. Oh, is Patricia Sacote on? I have the McKnights, but not, I thought she was on the list.
They were on earlier.
Oh, we're on.
Hello, we're here.
There
Can
they
you-
are.
Yeah.
Okay,
We had unmuted.
oh, okay.
I've been trying to figure out how to ask a chat question and I couldn't nail it. So
Okay, which gift card would you like? We have Publix or Cracker Barrel remaining.
Publix, please.
Publix, okay. And will you be home for the next 45 minutes or so?
Yes, I will.
Okay, so Bernie is going to be bringing those by, or bringing that by for you.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And our last winner, if she's here, is Lynn Tessler. Lynn, please speak or send a chat. Do you see Lynn on the participant list, Ed or
No, I
Joan?
don't see.
I don't see her.
You don't see her? Okay, so we'll do another draw, another name. Okay, Robert Grog.
How do you spell the last name?
Grogg.
I saw him earlier.
Robert, are you here? Okay, he may be gone. Okay, we'll draw another name.
Oh, there's a Bob Grog.
Oh, okay.
I don't know whether he's on or not.
Okay, it's probably him. Bob, can you send a chat or speak to let us know that you're here?
There's,
Oh, I got in the chat that they're here.
Okay,
It's
perfect.
Lynn and Bob, so it's,
Oh, yes, I see that now. Okay, so you will receive the Cracker Barrel gift cards. So those are our 3 gift cards. And that is all we have today. And Bernie will be by in the next 45 minutes probably to bring you your gift card. So thank you all so much for coming today. I'm glad you could be with us for an hour and hope to see you next month. And
Thank you,
so
Sherry.
we'll adjourn the
Thank you so
meeting.
much,
Take care.
Thank you, Sherry.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Very
you,
good.
Donna.
Thanks for the
Bye-bye.
presentation. Very helpful. Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Aye.
Bye. Okay.
goodbye, everybody.
Glad.
Hi.
Sherry, I think there are actually a few more people in the meeting than what answered the poll. Because
Yeah, there were.
at one point we were up to 69 participants.
Okay, so if we were up to 69, we can at least add 16 to that because there were multiple people.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, you can look at how many households you had in the poll plus the different.
yeah, well, it was a total. Well, the households, I didn't add those up. The total participants in the poll were 70. And if we had, if we got up to 69 on the thing, I think we were only in the 50s at that point.
63 when you did.
Yeah, it looks
Oh,
like
Dale said we were at 63 when we did the poll.
it looks like the people that answered the poll there were 40 at 1, 14 at 2, and 1 at 3. So that's only 53 people answered the poll, 53 computers.
Now, oh, 53 computers, yeah.
And we were up to 69, so.
So probably we had about between 80 and 90 at the meeting, don't you think?
Well, you're saying,
Because
55 to 69 is another 14. So whatever your count was, plus add 14 to it.
well, that would be 84 because I had 70.
Yeah, okay. That should be it then.
So yeah, so let's go with 84 then, if Phyllis is still on, or I'll tell her.
Yeah, I made a quick screenshot of the poll if you don't have it
okay.
available in front of you. I have it.
I wrote it down real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so now I need to get need to get these names to Bernie so she can go deliver the gift cards.
Okay.
So okay, so well, I'm going to end the meeting then for everybody.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye.